This network is called the National Network of Research, with where this platform is based, and they told me that they have the possibility of doing simultaneous translation, but I think they will not be able to use it here because using AI, they are developing for this platform to have simultaneous translation using
Sounds
AI,
good.
but I think
I
it's not
hope
good.
before they use it, I hope they test it. I did a talk in Hong Kong, and they were
With
using
this.
with artificial intelligence to translate, and it was garbage, really
Oh
nonsense coming out. So
my goodness! Yeah,
test it.
thank you. I'll ask them to do this because yeah, they told me they would try maybe, but I think they will not use it.
Yes, Yasu, you would have found it funny. I knew it was garbage because the Hong Kong speakers were also being translated into English, and the English
Oh,
was
okay.
I see, I
just
see.
No
not English.
sense.
I don't know what language they thought it was, but it made no sense to me at all.
Yeah, yeah. We had a very interesting conversation between my mother and my wife. So, Mario, so my wife doesn't speak Japanese well, and my mother doesn't speak English well. And they use Google Translate, and some of the comments are very
Yeah,
funny, really translated.
yeah.
Yeah.
They will. They told me they are about to open the broadcasting on YouTube. Yeah, they are about to open. Let me do. Okay, it's now being broadcasted on YouTube. I will.
If there is a link to it after, you could
Yeah,
send.
I'll send the link now here. Let me. Sure. Let me take the link. Let me. Because yeah, Jose told me that the event has finished. Then now we will start. Yeah, I'll ask. I'll ask. I asked. I have asked Walter to start with your speech, with your talks, so that you will be free after here. It's a kind of a way of trying to minimize this delay, and we can do the inauguration right after, because the inauguration will be just the presentation of the website and a few words from Jose, Walter, and I as directors of the Recovery College. Let me take the.
Thank you. Were you going to put the YouTube link in the chat?
Oh yeah, I'm trying to copy the link. Let me see. They sent me today earlier. Oh, it's here. The link. Let me insert here on the chat. This is YouTube, and I'm also sending you the link through email so that you will have it registered there.
That's very kind.
This the YouTube link. Okay.
Thank you.
And here. Since I will project your slides, I have them open here. Then this platform is like the Google Meet, the Zoom. Then I can project them here. Okay. My presentation is here, and now Yasu's presentation is here. Okay. Yeah, Jose told me that they are now in the room of the presentation. They are just sitting there and opening the projection of our talk, and it's already being broadcasted.
So Mario, I will say next slide when you
Okay.
need to, if that's okay, so you know.
Okay, so that I can know when I pass the slide. Then they told me that they are seeing us. Then we can start the presentations. We can start the and already start. Okay, is that okay for you? May I start the?
Please do, please do.
Okay, then I will start the presentation. Good morning, everyone here in Brazil. And I suppose that most of the people are here in Brazil who are watching us. We are about to start now the inauguration of the first Latin American Recovery College in Brazil, the IMAGUS Recovery College, which we call as well as School of Overcoming and Citizenship, the ESCOLA de Superação e Cidadania. And we have the honor of having here today the presence of Professors Mike Slade and Yasuhiro Kotera from the University of Nottingham. We are being broadcasted at the YouTube platform and also the Conferência web platform. And there are also people watching us in prisons at the first Brazilian Congress of Arts and Mental Health. And we are very happy. This is a very symbolical and effective moment for us because we have been planning this for more than 6 months, and now we have the pleasure of having here Mike and Yasu. They are partners of us. We have been collaborated in the field of mental health research and recovery college research and development, and they also coordinate the international. What's the name of the recollect the name of the international consortium of recovery colleges, which puts together dozens of recovery colleges and we can say hundreds of recovery colleges of the world, and now we have the honor to join this collective as well, and to show that our recovery college is trying to offer the best in terms of lived experience and also of recovery of superação, which we call overcoming in Brazil. No, and then we will start our presentations. Mike will start talking about recovery colleges in general. Then we have, after he talk, we will have a few minutes for questions if anyone has any question, and after his talk, Yasu we will talk about transcultural aspects of recovery colleges, because we are seeing now each day more that the recovery colleges rely on cultural differences. No, every day we are seeing evidences that show us that they depend of the differences of cultural specificities. And Brazil has a lot to offer, we know that, and Yasu, as an expert on transcultural aspects, he will also try to say a bit about this differences of transcultural aspects. And then we will start with the presentation of Professor Mike Slade about recovery colleges in general. And now I will just start to project I will project my screen. Let me find his presentation here. Okay, it is here. And I think you can see. Can you see my presentation? No. Let me check here. Now, yes. Now you can see. Right?
That's great. Thank you.
Yes. Now I am sharing the.
And can it go to the slideshow view?
Yeah, I'll activate the slideshow. Can you see the slideshow?
No, it's still on the slide viewer.
It's still, because I am projecting it for me here as a slide, a full slide.
So I don't know if you have to share the slide view.
Yeah, the slide view. Yeah, the slide view. I don't know if I can share the slide, the full slide presentation, like the slide view screen. Let me ask the technical support here. They told me that I can already present a project. Let me ask her. Okay. They are telling me here. Let me check here. Oh, here. Audio media area. Okay. I will. Yeah. Now I can just. I will copy I will attach the presentation in the platform. Now it will be possible. Not the screen. Let me. Okay, I'm sending it. Okay, now it's okay. Let me. Share, compartilhar. So it's uploading. Let me just check here. I'm sorry. The organizer of the event, Professor Walter, was just calling me here to say that they are already in the room and they are watching us. Everybody in the room, and they are watching us. Then, okay. I am sharing the presentation here. Let me just finish. I will just stop this sharing, and I will now. Okay, now it
Okay.
is. Now it is.
Okay, well done, Mario. Can I start?
Okay, sir. Yeah, please. Sorry for the delay. Yeah, now it's working.
Excellent. So thank you very much for the honour of joining you for this celebration event. I'm really excited to be in at the start, after lots and lots of work, of Latin America's first recovery college. I hope everybody on this call is really proud of the achievement. So many congratulations getting to this point. What I want to talk about your work in a broader context of recovery college research internationally. Next slide. So recovery colleges began, the first one opened in 2010, so 15 years ago here in England, and have spread internationally, so that there has been recent reviews showing that after a decade of research, the evidence is very positive about the experience of using recovery colleges, moving forward in life and progressively achieving recovery goals, the impact on staff and clinicians, and the positive benefits in relation to service use and societal costs. So the evidence base is emerging, but is not yet very strong as it is for other interventions that are available to people living with mental health issues. Next slide. So to address this issue, along with colleagues at King's College London, we are leading the world's largest programme of research about recovery colleges. The programme is called Recollect 2 and started with a survey of recovery colleges. We're currently finishing the collection of data about the impact of recovery colleges, And then finally, in Work Package 5, we're going to be looking at how recovery colleges survive and prosper in a complex environment that is shared across Brazil and England, that the environment has many influences that support or make it more difficult to sustain recovery colleges. So we started in the Recollect programme of research by asking, what is a recovery college? Next slide. And to answer this, we developed the Recollect Fidelity Measure, which is a measure capturing the extent to which a particular college is a recovery college. Now, shown in yellow are the two key elements of a recovery college. The first is that it provides an education and adult learning opportunity. It is not a clinical service. And the second is that co-production is embedded throughout the recovery college operation, including how courses are delivered. But we have learned that co-production means different things in different areas of the world. So in England, for example, co-production often involves a clinician and a peer trainer. In Australia, by contrast, co-production often involves two people with lived experience and training expertise, two peer trainers. So co-production means different things in different settings. Next slide. What we think, though, is more universal is the positive mechanisms of action by which recovery colleges work. So the first thing they do is they create an environment which is empowering rather than disempowering. And for many people using the mental health services internationally, those services can be somewhat disempowering. So the recovery college organizational culture is very different. And there are a number of elements of that. One is a focus on growth rather than maintenance. The second is a focus on relationships as a vehicle of change, all of which relates to how power is distributed. So, for example, someone will, in England, not be referred to a recovery college, they will choose to come here. So from the very first moment of engagement, there is more power in the hands of the student. Next slide, please. So as I said, the first recovery college opened in England in 2010. In this national survey, we were interested in how many recovery colleges now exist in England. Next slide, please. We were surprised to discover that there are 88 recovery colleges, which our best estimate means that every year in England, over 45,000 people are being offered over 11,000 courses at a cost of 18 million pounds. Now, translating that based on proportionate translation of population into a Brazilian setting, that means to have the same coverage as England, you would be providing opportunities for 165,000 students from across Brazil to be undertaking 40,000 courses at a cost of 456 million real. So you are starting this journey. I wish you really good luck on progressing this journey. So what I've talked about so far, though, is the situation in England. Next slide, please. But we know there are many recovery colleges around the world in English and non-English speaking countries. Next slide, please. So, for example, this is Africa's first recovery college in Kampala in Uganda. And when I went there, I attended as a student. And one of the joys of recovery colleges is that they are starting to be an international community. So, next slide, please. We were therefore very interested in how widely this innovation has spread around the world. So in this Lancet Psychiatry paper, we published a global overview of the recovery college development. Next slide, please. We found that there were 221 recovery colleges that have emerged in 28 countries. So this truly is a global innovation that you are becoming a member of this community. Now you can see in the figures in white show how many recovery colleges there were in various parts of the world. And after today, I will be adding a further one college for South America. So many congratulations to you. It's a real celebration that this innovation has spread to Latin America. I'm very excited. So in Recollect, one of the things we are doing is trying to understand how recovery colleges work and what the influences on them are. Next slide, please. So we published many papers. Here I'm just showing 3 of the papers we published. The first was looking at the impact of COVID-19 global pandemic on recovery colleges and doing a lot of learning about how colleges moved from in-person to online courses for students. The second is based on analysing 71 recovery colleges in England to understand the types of courses that are offered across the English recovery college community. And this may be relevant to the INAUGURANCO Recovery College as you develop new course offerings and you may wish to align with courses offered in other settings. And then finally, just to signpost to the work that Yasu has been leading, we've become very interested in how culture impacts on recovery college operation and sustainability. And this is one example from several papers that Yasu has led of a study across 28 countries to understand cultural influences on fidelity. Next slide, please. So in a wider Recollect study, which we'll be reporting next year in 2026, we're doing 3 approaches scientifically to try to understand the impact of recovery colleges. The first is we're comparing for a cohort of 500 people who use mental health services and our students in 36 recovery colleges, what the difference is between outcomes in their life at the start of using it and 1 year later. The second thing, to have a more scientifically rigorous understanding of effectiveness, is we're using a control group, in this case 330 service user students from 7 recovery colleges are being compared with 110 service users who are not recovery college students, but in other ways are similar, to try to understand the difference, if there is one, in outcome between these 2 groups. And then finally, we are conducting a control study using a retrospective design, so looking back in time, comparing the service use for 1,600 people who are service users and recovery college students with over 6,000 people who are service users but not using a recovery college. And just in finishing, I want to just give you a sneak peek of the preliminary results from that last study. Next slide, please. So we have compared a group who are service user students and with a group who are controls who are not using recovery colleges but are using services. And what we find, if you look at the 0.61 figure, what that means is that in the 6 months after starting to use the recovery college, inpatient admissions have gone down by 39% more in the recovery college students group than the control group. So this difference in differences analysis is providing the world's first evidence that using recovery colleges in comparison to people who are similar but do not use them may lead to reduced service use, and that of course will save society money. So alongside the individual benefits for service user students using recovery colleges in terms of increased empowerment and hope and agency, this provides a second case or rationale for why recovery colleges should become widely available. Next slide, please. So just to point to 2 areas of development which may be relevant in Brazil. The first is that we want to move beyond simply taking a recovery college model developed in England and then implementing it in all other countries towards a co-creation model. And this is where the learning from INAUGURANCO of how recovery colleges operate in a Brazilian context, I hope you will feed back into the global recovery college community so that we can learn from your experience. And secondly, recovery colleges have opened around the world primarily for working age adults. A slowly emerging new initiative is developing recovery colleges for both younger people, sometimes internationally these are called discovery colleges, and for older adults, and understanding the specific needs of those different populations and how recovery colleges need to be tailored to their specific needs. Next slide, please. So with that, I thank you very much for your attention. I'm sorry we are so far away. I spent a very happy time last year in Brazil, learning a lot in person, but I hope some of what we've talked about has been interesting. And if there are any questions, I would really welcome them.
Thank you, Mike, so much for your great presentation. And now we are open for a few minutes of discussion. If anyone has any question, we will proceed with these questions. Please, we are being broadcasted on YouTube. Then if anyone may use the chat on YouTube, I can see the chat there. And also here at the platform, RNP platform, and then I will also check the chat here. If anyone has any question, please. And I also ask the technical support to write the questions here. Let me check here if they have any, because it will have a small delay here because they will need to type the questions if we have anyone. And Mike, while they are typing here, or if we have any question, I have noted something that I would like to ask you as a member of the directors of our Brazilian Recovery College, that when we talk with friends and collaborators like you and Yasu and others from the US as well, they always, regarding recovery, they always tell us to do in our way. And then do recover it in your way, and then this is the best advice that we have had. But in terms of the universal, because for example, before that, in Brazil we have a very important theory that has been even used for some recovery colleges as a pedagogical basis, like the theory of Paulo Freire, for example, because it was developed, his proposal was developed for adult education. Then I have even seen a paper about the pedagogy of recovery colleges, and that Paulo Freire could, with the problem posing dialogue, he could help a lot. And it's from Brazil, it's from our country. Then I think that we could, for sure, one of the pedagogical bases will be Paulo Freire for us. But in terms of the universal basis of recovery college, and you told us about the universal basis, those elements that like co-production is a universal element, and which would be the best universal advice, which is transcultural, that is not dependent on the Brazilian cultural, which would be this advice, this universal advice you would give us, for us who are just starting with the first recovery college in South America?
Sure. Well, I would start with two approaches. Firstly, building on what is known already. So rather than imagining you have to create everything without any knowledge from anyone else, there is an international community of practice around recovery colleges, and it makes every sense to learn what is relevant from them. So I would be connecting with people who have more experience in creating and running recovery colleges. The second, though, is I would be doing very thoughtful evaluation in IMAGUS of what works, what doesn't work, what needs to be changed. Because the challenge is that we want to move beyond cultural adaptation to cultural co-creation. And that means that some things will be distinct and different in Brazil. And they may be distinct and different in different regions of Brazil. I know when I was there, I was hearing about very different service structures in the different parts of the large country.
Yeah, that's true.
So there are no universal solutions to these questions. One of the sayings in the recovery world is that the road is made by walking. So I would thoughtfully walk. I would be trying to evaluate and work out what works and what does not work, what is culturally concordant and what is culturally discordant. And I would then encourage you to share that knowledge with the wider world, whether through publications or webinars, but to be part of the global debate, the discourse about what makes a recovery college and how can recovery be supported. Because too much of the voice so far has come from the global north, I would suggest. And a stronger voice from the global south will only benefit all of us.
Thank you so much. And we have, yes, thank you. And we have also two complementary questions that you can see here on the chat. One of them is about, they are asking examples of the courses in terms of the main themes that appear in the courses of the Recovery College worldwide, and describe the courses and the content.
I see the question.
They are probably asking the main common contents of the course.
So the most widely used in our typology paper of course content, the most widely used category was well-being, and that may reflect a lot of cultural priorities within England around self-management, which may not be so strong in other cultures, but for English recovery colleges, the skills around supporting one's own well-being and self-managing were the most highest frequently run courses. The second highest was management of mental health. So it might be understanding depression, understanding bipolar disorder, living with anger, coping with grief. Those kind of courses are the most common course contents. And in terms of who the courses are for, all recovery colleges have a saying that they are open to all. Our research finding is that they mean two things by that. For most recovery colleges, they are open to people who use mental health services. They are also open to staff who work in mental health, clinicians and other staff, and to family members. So often the course will have perhaps two people at the front, a peer trainer and a non-peer trainer providing the course or facilitating it. And then there may be 8 or 10 people around a circular table, some of whom will be people with their own experience of mental health issues, some will be staff, some will be family members. Other recovery colleges are even wider than that, and they say we are open to anyone, whether or not you have any connection with the mental health system. So some are open to any community member to come to.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, this is a question that people has made to us always. They have made to us always about if we can include professionals and families, and I always answer that yes,
Very
we
much.
can include everybody, even the greater community, right?
That's right. If I can add to that, we did an evaluation of the impact on staff. So clinicians have typically 2 roles in a recovery college. They might be the non-peer trainer. So, for example, a peer trainer who has personal experience of schizophrenia and a psychiatrist who has experience of treating schizophrenia might jointly run the course. So that's one way that staff have experience as a non-peer trainer in a recovery college. But the second is by, as I did in Kampala, being a student on a course. So there's 2 sorts of experience are possible. They're both beneficial. We found that this was, for many staff, a transformative experience. Because, for example, for staff, it was the first time they understood what co-production means. It was the first time they experienced genuinely shared decision-making. So it was transformative for some staff in terms of the practice that they took back to their clinical work.
Okay, great. Thank you, Mike, so much. And if you have any additional question, I don't know if we have time as well, because we need to proceed to the next presentation. But I think that it was a great introduction, and I think that the message as well is always like the great message that I have received no mic that do it in your way, no, do it in the Brazilian way. And I think that now with the next presentation by Yasu, we will have some ideas and about this, how we can do it in our way as well because of the transcultural aspect. And thank you so much, Mike, for
Goodbye and
your
good luck on your journey.
kindness.
I'm very
Thank you
excited.
so much.
Bye-bye now.
Thank you. And now we will proceed with the next presentation by Professor Yasuhiro Kotera. He's Associate Professor of University of Nottingham, also member of the Recovery Research Team, as well as Professor Mike, who just gave his presentation. And he will now give us a great presentation about the transcultural aspects of recovery colleges. Now I will just upload his presentation here. And let me just share. It's uploading your presentation, and I will share it as soon as it's uploaded. Oh no. Okay, let me. They are asking me to. The system is asking me to. Oh, they made another question here, but you can leave this question. No problem. I think that Yasu will be able to answer this question as well. Even Mike has left, but I think that Yasu will be able to answer these general questions about recovery college as well, since he is involved in the recovery college research at the university, at the Recollect Consortium. Then he will be able as well to give the answers, to make the answers. And the questions will also be made by microphone after your presentation, Yasu. I'm just changing the format of your presentation because the extension that I have here is not supported. Then I will transform it into a PDF so that I can share it here.
Okay, no problem.
PDF presentation. Okay. Now I can share it. Uploading the PDF. No, this is Mike. Here, yours. Done. PDF presentation, uploading. Okay. Okay. Now it is. Here it is. Sharing. Okay. Now we will start. Sorry for this technical problems, but now it's okay. Please, Professor Yasu, feel free for your presentation. Thank you so much again.
Of course. Yeah, I feel very honored to give a talk here, and a big congratulations for the launch of the first recovery college in South America, and that gives us, new cultural group to explore. So I'm excited to be part of this. And then, as Mario kindly introduced, I'm going to talk about culture and recovery colleges and research findings and applications to Brazil. So if you could, Elso Yasu and Boa Dalji. I'm from Japan, and we have so many Brazilian students coming to our school, and many of us go to Brazil, kind of thing. So we learn Brazilian, we learn Portuguese a little bit. And anyway, if you could move on to next slide. So through Recollect, we've done many cross-cultural global studies, and I'm going to talk about those 7 studies that's been completed, and also can talk about study 8 that's currently ongoing. So Mario, if you could go to next slide. So first one, as Mike introduced, that we identified over 200 recovery colleges in 28 countries. So yeah, this is the very first time to find out, how many exactly recovery colleges exist in how many countries, and then we assess the recovery colleges in those countries, including fidelity. And then about fidelity score, we found that recovery colleges in Western countries tend to have higher fidelity scores. So our findings stop there. And then, I joined the team around that time. And then slightly before this completion study, and then saw the data. And from my cross-cultural view, I was already very confident that culture may have key role in this difference. If you could move to next slide. So we looked at fidelity scores of recovery crises around the world to see if those fidelity scores are associated with cultural metrics. And we use Hofstede's 6 cultural dimensions, and then see that if there is any significant associations between culture and fidelity. And then we found that the 4 cultural characteristics are linked to fidelity scores. And those are individualism, means that individual needs are prioritized over groups' needs. And indulgence is more about enjoyment-oriented value. So for example, practical view that I use in visiting many countries is that if you go to a city and see that if people are kissing in public, indulgent culture, you see many people kissing in public. On the other hand, the other side of indulgence culture is restraint culture, which values impulse control. So taking control of impulse, or taking control of your individual emotion is regarded as a sign of maturity in those societies. For example, Japan is one of those restrained cultures. Indulgence means that enjoyment, gratification of that is relatively accepted. And uncertainty acceptance means that when you are in unknown situation, unknown situation, you are accepted. It's accepted to play by ear. In English, it's called wing it. Play by ear is accepted. So UK, for example, is very uncertainty accepting society. On the other hand, the other side is uncertainty avoidant culture, where rules are very important. So when you are in a unknown situation, you have to have rules set up first before you wing it. That kind of cultural values. Countries like Japan or Germany have very high level of uncertainty avoidance, means that the low uncertainty acceptance. And then last one that's associated with high fidelity score is short-term orientation. Means that you want results now kind of approach as opposed to long-term orientation. So short-term orientation culture is often described as spending culture, as opposed to long-term orientation culture. It's saving culture. So in long-term oriented society, you kind of suffer now for future good kind of thinking. On the other hand, short-term orientation culture is now we adjust now kind of difference. So those 4 values, those 4 cultural characteristics are associated with high fidelity scores using the current tool of recovery recollect fidelity measure. That's what we found here. Next slide, please. And then if you think about high individualism, high indulgence, and high uncertainty acceptance, and high short-term orientation, which countries we can find with these values? America, UK, Australia, Canada, Sweden. And these countries, for example, UK now have 88 recovery colleges. It's the most biggest number of 28 countries, now 31 countries. And Australia and Canada are second and third most recovery college implemented countries. So this can tell somewhat that countries' values, countries' culture can also inform that good fidelity score and also implementation as well. And then those countries are relatively known to be more Protestant values as opposed to Catholic countries. So, for example, like in countries like Spain or Italy, the implementation hasn't progressed yet. So that may tell something about the values in recovery colleges and how it's expressed, and also cultural characteristics. Next slide, please. Thank you. So when I teach culture to people, sometimes I describe culture as a wind. Wind in, for example, a football game, as we are in Brazil now. So yeah, a football game, right? So if your wind is coming from behind you to forward this way, and if you kick a ball, of course your ball goes much faster than real speed because the wind pushes you, right? The wind is like culture, so that the intervention's value and also cultures, the country's culture are the same direction. Of course, that intervention goes much smoother. But imagine that you kick a ball and the wind is coming against you. It's really hard to kick a ball far or kick a ball fast, and so it describes the clash of culture and interventions values. So through our finding we can see that this alignment of culture and values in intervention, if that matches, it goes faster. If it clashes, it goes slower, kind of thing. So it's one thing to think about. Next slide, please. And then also through this finding, we can say something about fit and fidelity balance. In any interventions used globally, we need to think about fit. Fit is very important. You want to make recovery college fit your context. So to maximize benefits for people there, you want to make it fit. But fidelity is also important. That fidelity means that intervention is being done as planned. So this kind of balance, through this we think about, and also these findings highlight that we may need to adjust a little bit of tools to help this fit and fidelity balance. So those are implications. Next slide, please. And based on that, we next move on to the process of research. So study 1-2 are about content of research, but how about the process of research? And then often those global studies use self-report tools, but that's susceptible to response biases, and also self-enhancement effects and the in-group bias. In individualistic culture, in-group bias works for favor, and in collectivistic culture, in-group bias can work negatively, but that kind of difference as well. And also, how unusual research is to many people at the global level. So, like, for example, if you are in a country where research is not so actively done, and you interview somebody, do they feel normal to be interviewed? And for example, in Philippines, they have their own way to do interview, more like casual conversation in the group to get authentic responses. Or I know in journalism work, some journalists interview people at the kitchen of their house, because that's where they can get most honest, authentic responses, kind of thing. So we need to think about the context of research as well. Next slide, please. And then, this is what Mike introduced earlier about item-level cultural analysis. So study 2, we found that the general fidelity score is associated with some cultural characteristics. But this study, we looked at more detailed way, looking at each item of fidelity measure to see which item is culturally impacted. And then, 7 items out of 12 were linked to cultural characteristics. So that was very interesting, including, for example, co-production was impacted by individualism and indulgence, those kind of things. So next slide, please. This is a kind of easy summary of our findings. As you can see that learning and co-production, those are key aspects, are culturally impacted. So this may suggest, for example, the wording used in the fidelity measure may need to change a little bit to more culturally inclusive, or we are very curious to find out those countries, how they adapt, how they change their operation to meet those values. Next slide, please. So 7 items were hard to score high by recovery colleges in certain cultures. So this means that, as I said, the concept or wording may need more clarification or more adjustment to different context. For example, positive energy, the words used in positive energy in commitment to recovery is one item in recovery fidelity score. It's hard to meet in restraint culture, because restraint culture, it's more about kind of restraining their emotions or needs. Or another example is that students have responsibility for their learning, and this word responsibility may have different connotations in different cultures. For example, in Japan, responsibility is used rather negatively, that you need to perform your responsibility. And that's why prime ministers of Japan often change, because people say, how about your responsibility, kind of thing. But in this context of scale, responsibility is used as part of empowerment. You have responsibility, more like positive tone. So there's definitely cultural difference to it. Next slide, please. And in study 5, then we looked at implementation of recovery colleges, and we did cross-cultural study between England and Japan. We looked at advertisement texts of recovery colleges, so how recovery colleges are introduced to the public in Japan and in England, and looked at similarities and differences. This idea I came from, for example, TV commercial of Prius. Toyota's hybrid car is advertised very differently in Japan and in America. In America, they use Leonardo DiCaprio and driving Prius, kind of prestige kind of thing. But in Japan, Prius drives through forest. Be with nature, be with eco awareness, I think. So it's very differently. So I wonder how recovery colleges are introduced in 2 different cultures. What we found is that lived experience of mental health was commonly highlighted in the text of both countries. But the difference was that, for example, in England, recovery colleges are a place to learn self-management, self-management. While in Japan, recovery colleges are introduced as a place to learn together. Very different. So those differences we found. Next slide, please. So this means that people expect different things to come to recovery colleges, because advertisement message says self-management is important. Then people expect to learn self-management to recovery colleges in England, while in Japan, they expect to learn together to come to recovery colleges. So their experience will diverge, as that culturally attractive wording is different in those 2 different cultures. So next slide, please. And then based on this study 5, we have proposed guidelines for discourse research. We used a linguistic analysis to mental health recovery research. So we have adjusted discourse analysis framework to mental health research, recovery research. So that's this paper. Next slide, please. And then this is now still a preprint, but same analysis we applied to Dutch recovery college texts by comparing those 3 countries, Netherlands and Japan and UK, England, and we can highlight Dutch cultural characteristics of quality of life orientation. And then what we found is that recovery in Dutch text was described as part of daily life. That was very strongly emphasized in Dutch texts, in advertisement text. So, next slide, please. Yeah, and then based on those findings, now we are doing Delphi study, and then asking experts around the world to suggest the wording, for example, wording of current recovery college tools, how that should be, changed to fit to your context, or asking about how their practice has changed to meet this fidelity or change mechanism. So that's currently going on. Next slide, please. And there's a protocol published in PLOS ONE, so you can take a look. It's online. So next slide, please. And the future direction. This is an animation, but through this, we are creating this cultural distance index. Means that how different each cultures are in terms of mental health recovery. And the next item is cultural compass. This XY graph is a cultural compass. So this will inform how culture needs to be adjusted so it's more like a distance index shows distance, and the compass shows what kind of specific change culturally recovery crisis in one country need to make. Next slide, please. And applications to Brazil and Brazilian culture using Hofstadter's metrics, for example, is that collectivism with relatively high indulgence. Those numbers are from Hofstadter's data from 2013. Individualism is, so it's collectivistic more towards 38 is not so high. So difference, maybe this collectivism individualist aspect, the change is needed. And then Brazilian or Latin American culture in general is labeled as expressive collectivism, and means that they create group cohesion through expression such as arts or those kind of things. So, for example, I found this Programa de Volta para Casa is that like a theatrical music approach for mental health. That kind of thing is very unique. I like bossa nova, and Chegazi Saudade is like Saudade is sad thing, but in the music they make it kind of feeling good effects. So it's very unique. It's very strength of Brazilian context, and also this Gentilho Brasileiro is that the Brazilian way of creative solution. So it's very interesting to see that. For example, that kind of approach may fit well with tailoring students' needs. Is one component, one fidelity item of recovery college. Next slide, please. So, for example, like I have some ideas that may be interesting to global audience. One possibility is that the bringing Brazilian arts for recovery to the UK as a grand collaboration. So, for example, we could plan something, grants, and then co-create art approach to the UK context. For example, theatrical work or musical work that's going on in Brazil that's very unique. And applying to UK context. And then, in the UK, there are 250,000 people from Latin America and, many in London. So they may be hungry for culturally fit approach for recovery, but by offering art-based approach, we may be able to culturally expand diversity of recovery approaches. And the next one is that I do a lot of research in nature, how nature helps recovery. So, using existing recovery colleges around the world, we can conduct some nature contact and then evaluate how culturally people engage with nature is different. Evidence so far says cross-culturally, getting in touch with nature is helpful. For example, lifestyle medicine means that incorporating healthy behaviors or healthy things in your daily life for mental health. So lifestyle medicine for mental health includes nature contact as one of the pillars to maintain good mental health. So using that and cross-culturally evaluate difference may be one way to assess. So yeah, if you're interested, let me know. So next slide, please. So obrigado. That's all from me. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Yasu, for this great presentation. And it was so lovely to hear some things that you made a great effort to search for things from here. It was very nice from you. Thank you so much, and we are very happy. And then we have a question already, which was put before your presentation. I think that you will be able to answer it. It was about the question was, do you include a discussion of community resources or community integration? I think that the question is about if the recovery colleges worldwide usually include discussion of community resources and community integration, because this is something very important for us
Yeah,
in the
definitely.
Brazilian
Yeah, definitely. And this,
context.
yeah, thank you for your question, and definitely that it relates to fit aspect, fit fidelity balance or fit aspect, and recovery courage must fit the context, community resources or community integration aspect. So definitely that's included as part. And then that there is analysis of course content of Japan. And what was interesting is that they compared course contents between Japan and England. And what Japanese list had was understanding differences, which was not listed in the England list. And on the England list, there is a tidying up, or like kind of tidying up the mess or tidying up your room kind of course contents, but not in Japanese list. So my guess from this is that things that has been taught in school over and over may not be listed in recovery courage course, like tidying up. Like in Japanese school, we do tidying up time after, and then but we don't learn much about understanding differences, because like 98% of people live in Japan share same ethnicity, while in England it's more diverse. But so maybe that's why it's not on the list. But tidying up after, maybe they don't have a tidying up time after meal in school. Certainly not from my kids go to school, but they don't have it. So maybe that kind of thing. So I think that shows that recovery courage content fit to the community resources. So yeah.
Okay, thank you. And now they told me that they will be making the questions from the microphone. We can hear directly. Then feel free, the people in the audience, please, to make the questions on the microphone. I think they will connect. Any question on the microphone, please? They told me that they would activate the microphone. Oh yeah, they are typing. I think the microphone is not working, but they are preparing. Yes. They told me that they are on the way with the microphone to make the question. Okay. No, we cannot hear. Não podemos ouvir. No, we cannot hear. They are asking me if we can hear. No, we cannot hear. If you cannot use the microphone, feel free to type the question. I think they will type.
Mhm.
Let me ask them to type. Technical issues, they are common. When we do it, no, yeah, they will.
Okay.
They are trying to
Okay.
type. Yeah, they're typing. The technical supporter is typing here.
Mm.
Okay. They're typing on the chat.
Okay.
Unfortunately, Yasu will need to leave soon. Then, please, por favor, se puderem digitar, que o Yasu pode ficar só até agora às 12h30. I'm translating to Portuguese and
Okay.
into Portuguese and English the same. There's at least one question I said, because you told me you need to leave now. They are typing.
Okay.
Yeah. As you can see, Yasu, it's here on the chat. It's showing that they are typing. Está digitando means is typing.
Okay. So digitando is type, and then esta is it, something like that.
Está digitando, yes, it means someone is typing.
Okay. Esta digitando.
Yeah.
Digitando.
Yes. Oh no, it's working. Yeah, Walter is with the microphone.
Tá ouvindo aí, Mário?
Sim. Feel free to say.
Richard, agora tá funcionando aqui.
Yeah. Oh no, não tá funcionando. It's not working anymore. I think that the question will be made by Richard Weingarten, who is an American journalist who developed a very important intervention that we have in Brazil called the Speak Up Community, that they put people with lived experience together to tell their stories of recovery. And he is one of the pioneers of bringing recovery to Brazil.
Thank you. I have a question for you. Stigma is a phenomenon worldwide. I've worked in Brazil and I've worked in the United States, and stigma is a big problem for people in recovery and their families too. And it's different in both countries. I'm wondering if the recovery colleges deals with stigma and how it affects different peoples in different parts of the world, and how do you help people overcome or combat stigma in those countries? Okay.
Yeah, thank you for very important question. Different that recovery colleges work on stigma, and you can see that stigma related content, for example, in recovery colleges in England, and then also sometimes the label, the title. Okay, now it's off. Okay, good. Is addressed through increasing understanding of mental health symptoms, or sometimes have narratives of people first-person narratives of people who had mental health issues through that kind of thing. And then putting that as you have cross-cultural experience, putting that in cross-cultural context, it's very useful to think about what kind of stigma, and for example, is it internal stigma, or is it reflective stigma, means that it's stigma against stigma for family, or is it self stigma, means that you are worried about your family's mental health issues will stigmatize you, kind of direction. So it's reflective to self stigma. So it's good to think about those differences. And then I've explored this aspect in many different countries, and it tends to be that within my research, that people in high individualistic culture tend to have high level of internal stigma, that they see themselves as weak or inadequate because of mental health issues, as opposed to in more collectivistic society, people tend to have more of reflective stigma, that, for example, I have depression, then I worried about my family's reputation, or my brother has depression, therefore I worry about my reputation, kind of reflective side. So that can indicate that what kind of understanding we will help may differ across culturally. So in more collectivistic society, that this reflective side of stigma maybe help. So for example, learning as a family of mental health issues may be important, or in the more individualistic society, more individualistic understanding of mental health may be the first step towards reducing stigma. So thank you. I mean, that's highly relevant to recovery college and cross-cultural context. So thank you for your important question.
So thank you so much for giving us this great answer now, and for your presentation, and thank you for extending your time. I know that you have to leave, and it was great to have you and Mike here with us in the celebration, as you said, of this opening ceremony of our Escola de Superação e Cidadania. It's the School of Overcoming and Citizenship, the way we have chosen to call the recovery colleges in Portuguese, an adapted way. But thank you so much.
No, thank you for this opportunity. Okay.
Bye. Thank you. Muito obrigado, pessoal. Nós vamos agora continuar em português. Eu espero aí que o professor Walter e o José possam se juntar aqui. Agora nós vamos continuar em português.
Como só tem um microfone funcionando...
Tranquilo.
Cada pessoa vem aqui uma vez e senta aqui, senão vai ter que ficar trocando cadeira aqui, né? Então, acho que o protocolo, Mário, começa comigo, né? Depois,
beleza.
Né? Então, em primeiro lugar, eu queria pedir, Fernanda, só para ter certeza, as pessoas no YouTube estão nos escutando, na RNP também? Sim, está tudo certo agora? Então, em primeiro lugar, eu queria pedir perdão às pessoas que estão aqui e às pessoas no YouTube, na RNP. Já me informaram ali que nós perdemos muitas pessoas, porque entravam e não entendiam o que estava acontecendo, porque houve uma inversão devido ao atraso, né? E também devido à estrutura da universidade. Mais uma vez, na fala inicial, falava da cadeira que afunda e a mesa que cai, né? Aqui é o microfone que não funciona e a falta de um técnico qualificado da universidade para estar lidando, né? Fazendo com que a coisa seja funcional aqui. Mas são as coisas que a gente vai lidando, né? Eu só posso pedir perdão para as pessoas, tanto aqui quanto no YouTube. O microfone, evidentemente, está bem ruim, né? Está cortando aqui. Mas, enfim, nós estamos muito felizes de estar aqui hoje, né? De ter ouvido ali duas pessoas de referência internacional sobre Recovery College, e também a fundação do primeiro estilo Recovery College. A gente quer usar agora em português, é a Escola de Superação e Cidadania. Vai ser o primeiro funcionamento para quem não conhece o conceito, é uma forma de inclusão real e protagonismo, em que as pessoas que são usuárias do sistema de saúde mental se tornam professores, se tornam pessoas com uma abertura de campo de trabalho. E essa escola, ela vem com a idealização, principalmente do José Alberto Orsi, que vai falar aqui depois de mim, que é presidente hoje da Associação Brasileira de Amigos Familiares de Pessoas com Esquizofrenia, a ABRE, de São Paulo, e temos a parceria do professor Mário César Andrade, também na Universidade Federal de São João del Rei, além de uma sede aqui também em Florianópolis. E eu quero começar falando exatamente disso. Aqui em Florianópolis, nós vamos funcionar em parceria com o Instituto Florescer, que a gente usa com SC, né? É Flores Ser. A gente usa um nome poético, bacana, né? E eu vou já convidar aqui a presidente do Instituto, que está inaugurando hoje também. Eu não sei se ficou acertado, Célia, vai ter lá um espaço de inauguração hoje à noite? Tá. Não vai poder receber o pessoal hoje lá, mas a gente vai fazer um momento que vai ter uma inauguração também lá na sede, né? Infelizmente não conseguimos fazer durante o congresso, que aí vocês todos poderiam ver o espaço, que é maravilhoso, aqui pertinho da universidade, mas a ideia de realmente fazer um trabalho que se coloque junto à reforma psiquiátrica, realmente promovendo o protagonismo dos usuários e promovendo a inclusão social dos usuários através do trabalho e através da dedicação a um processo de educação, é uma coisa muito bacana, né? E esse modelo é inspirado em alguns modelos internacionais, por isso nós trouxemos hoje o professor Mike Slade e a Sushiro Kotera, lá da Universidade de Nottingham, onde tem um dos maiores centros de Recovery College hoje do mundo, internacionalmente. A Universidade de Yale, através do PERCH, do Programa de Recovery e Community Health Centers, Collective Program for Recovery and Community Collectives, eles também têm um programa de inclusão social muito grande, e a gente transita muito nesse mundo, né, que hoje implica, como o Yasser falou, Austrália, Hong Kong, Reino Unido, vários países do Reino Unido, Inglaterra, Irlanda, Portugal. Nós temos aqui no nosso congresso hoje a Cecília Vilares, que ontem deu um mini curso também sobre diálogo aberto. Todas essas novidades na saúde mental estão dialogando nacional e internacionalmente. Então, é um grande orgulho para a gente inaugurar isso aqui durante esse congresso, é um momento histórico, e a gente espera que seja um trabalho bastante frutífero. Eu vou convidar para dar uma breve saudação aqui também, nós já estamos muito no adiantado da hora, com todas as confusões, né, do microfone meio cortado, mas eu vou convidar a doutora Célia Mendes, que é a presidente do Recovery, da nossa Escola de Superação e Cidadania aqui em Florianópolis. Infelizmente, a Mirtes, que estava junto conosco, teve que sair para ir lá no nosso stand. Visitem o stand do Instituto Florescer lá, para conversar mais com a gente, e vamos ter uma breve saudação aqui da doutora Célia também.
Bom, boa tarde. Eu queria passar um pouquinho o vídeo do Instituto Florescer, rapidamente. Dá para passar? Melhor não? Tá bom. Bom, vou contar um pouquinho, então, como é que começou o Instituto, né? Eu sou médica psiquiatra, trabalhei com saúde mental já há muito tempo, trabalhei na Prefeitura do Rio, depois na Prefeitura de Florianópolis, em CAPS, mas em 2015 eu fiquei só no consultório e senti essa necessidade de voltar a trabalhar com saúde mental, né? Tenho parceria com algumas psicólogas e a gente também, com essa necessidade de ter um trabalho diferenciado, junto com uma pessoa que é familiar e um usuário, a gente resolveu fazer o Instituto Florescer. Então, surgiu dessa vamos dizer assim, dessa conjunção aí, feliz, né, desse encontro, e a gente vai trabalhar com oficinas terapêuticas, grupos, né, o trabalho de acolhimento, de projeto terapêutico individualizado. Inclusive, tem alguns usuários que nós convidamos para fazer oficinas também no Instituto Florescer, né? Então, é um trabalho que está começando, né? A gente está agora apresentando ele aqui na universidade, né? E com parceria aqui com o Walter. E, bom, não tenho muito o que falar agora, assim. Eu queria mostrar um pouco a imagem, mas não deu, né? Que é uma casa muito bonita aqui perto da UFSC, com piscina. E nós vamos ter atividades de teatro, várias atividades de arte, música, né? Grupos terapêuticos. Bom, é isso. Tá bom?
Mário, você me escuta?
Estou escutando, pode falar, Zé.
Para mim é um imenso prazer estar aqui. É um momento da minha vida que parece que eu venho esperando isso desde que eu nasci, praticamente, porque para mim é um divisor de águas. Eu tenho uma biografia que eu não vou me estender falando, né? Eu me tornei uma figura pública e às vezes eu até me assusto, porque às vezes eu ando, né, um pouco nas universidades, as pessoas me conhecem e muitas vezes eu não sei, né? E o Recovery College foi um fruto, em primeiro lugar, de pessoas que antecederam a mim. Então, eu sou uma pessoa, quem já me conhece, eu tenho um transtorno de esquizofrenia, um transtorno chamado transtorno esquizoafetivo. O ano passado eu tive um surto grave, bem grave mesmo, ele foi transformado em esquizofrenia paranoide, então eu já não sei mais se eu tenho esquizofrenia paranoide, ou se é esquizoafetivo. No começo já tive o diagnóstico de bipolaridade, enfim. Mas o que para mim foi importante foi eu conseguir me manter funcional. Então isso para mim foi um passo decisivo, porque naquele momento, o ano passado, quando eu tive o surto, eu me questionei muito a validade do recovery. Será que o recovery de fato não é uma criação acadêmica e de fato é um fato que realmente as pessoas podem ter uma qualidade de vida, uma reinserção? E eu, naquele momento, fui colocado à prova. E eu tive um acolhimento muito grande da academia, o Dr. Walter, que é um parceiro de longa data, o Dr. Mário Rezende, que é meu irmão espiritual, e o professor Arigadelha, que é meu orientador master. E nós conseguimos ter uma interrupção do meu doutorado, né? Eu estou doutorando na Escola Paulista de Medicina lá da Unifesp. E trancamos a matrícula por um ano e eu consegui, aos trancos, com as dificuldades, quase que visceralmente, recuperar o tempo e conseguir continuar o projeto, que é o projeto hoje que norteia a minha vida, que é implementar o primeiro Recovery College do Brasil e na América Latina. E a gente, na verdade, tem 3 unidades, né? São Paulo, que é a que está mais próxima, Florianópolis e São João del Rei. Mas para falar do recovery, eu tenho que falar necessariamente da minha origem, né? Eu tive um pai que tinha esquizofrenia, a mãe do meu pai também tinha esquizofrenia, eu também tenho uma irmã com esquizofrenia. Então, na minha vida, na minha experiência de vida, eu tenho pós-graduado. Minha mãe, então, podia dar consultoria, eu acho, sobre isso, né? Coitada, foi esposa, mãe, enfim. Mas o meu divisor de águas foi depois, o meu primeiro surto foi em 94, eu me mudei para os Estados Unidos, depois no sentido de reconstruir a minha vida. Tive 2 surtos durante um período que eu fiz um mestrado nos Estados Unidos, tive 2 surtos psicóticos, consegui me recuperar, e depois, em 99, quando eu estava trabalhando na Microsoft americana em Seattle, tive um surto gravíssimo e eu tive que voltar para o Brasil. E o meu diagnóstico, o meu psiquiatra falava, né, quando eu tive o primeiro diagnóstico em 98, que eu tive o primeiro diagnóstico lá nos Estados Unidos, né? Transtorno afetivo. Ele falou, Zé, você infelizmente você não vai conseguir finalizar o mestrado aqui nos Estados Unidos, você vai ser tutelado, você terá que ser tutelado até o resto da vida, você não vai conseguir trabalhar, você não vai conseguir constituir família, e eu estou te falando isso para você estar preparado para essas... E parcialmente ele acertou, parcialmente ele errou, não culpo se for uma ignorância profissional, porque na verdade a maioria estatisticamente, 43% das pessoas com esquizofrenia tem um desenvolvimento crônico, incapacitante, e um prognóstico muito ruim, então ele foi baseado naquilo que é chamado de ciência, estatísticas, né? Aí eu voltei para o Brasil e passei 3 anos sob supervisão de uma terapeuta ocupacional, indicada pela minha prima, Viviane Maximino, que é colega da Cissa, conheceram a Cissa já, Colégio Tedesco também, colega de longa data. E nesse período de 2 anos e meio, quase 3, eu fiquei fazendo atividades ocupacionais com essa terapeuta, né, que é a Maria Regina Marques, que eu tenho uma grande dívida com ela, porque me acolheu num momento dificílimo. E também na Santa Casa de São Paulo, onde eu comecei o tratamento psiquiátrico via SUS. Mas a Santa Casa, basicamente, renovava a receita para mim. Não havia uma preocupação com a minha qualidade de vida. Até que um dia, eu no metrô, né, vejo um jornalzinho, Metrô News, e fico sabendo de um evento que a Abre, né, eu não sabia que a Abre existia, né, mas a Cissa estava, o Jorge Assis, né, que eu vim a conhecer um evento chamado Conversando sobre Esquizofrenia. Eu falei para minha mãe, olha, na Biblioteca Mário de Andrade, uma biblioteca emblemática lá em São Paulo, eu falei, mãe, vamos juntos, né, conhecer esse Conversando sobre Esquizofrenia, quero ver. E quando eu conheci a Cissa e o Jorge Assis, que me acolheram efusivamente, eu fiquei apaixonado pelo projeto que me apresentaram, que pela primeira vez na minha vida eu pertencia a uma tribo, a uma família. Eu não estava sozinho mais no mundo. Percebi que e a gente começou um trabalho muito bonito de oficina de redação de textos, lá na casinha, na Pedro de Toledo, onde era a casinha da Associação Brasileira de Psiquiatria. Então, tudo isso é história, na verdade. Eu sei que o tempo está estourado, eu sei que eu gostaria muito de falar mais para vocês, né? Mas esse foi o primeiro, resumindo, né? Para não tomar muito, para dar tempo para a Sami falar um pouquinho. Esse foi o primeiro divisor de águas. Então, conheci a Abre, né, conhecer o Jorge, que foi uma figura que eu tenho um carinho, uma ligação afetiva com essa pessoa, né, e gostaria que tivesse junto com a gente, por uma questão pessoal, individual, ele não está no Recovery College, né? Aliás, se fosse possível botar a homepage do Recovery College, é possível botar aqui na tela a homepage nossa?
Eu posso projetá-lo aqui. Eu posso projetá-lo aqui.
Pode projetar? Porque eu acho que ele diz mais do que eu falo. Imagens valem mais do que as palavras.
Eu projeto aqui, Zé. Pode deixar. Eu já estou no...
A gente já trabalhando, inclusive o professor Walter Oliveira falou assim, você colocou na página do Imagos, né? Que o Imagos não é fantasia, né? Você botou um centro psiquiátrico, né? Você tem que botar gente, né? Gente que está fazendo. Então eu consegui, meio correndo, né? Até o nome da Sami ficou Sami Larroy de fanatismo, né? O webmaster ele botou fanatismo no nome da... Mas eu acho que nós todos somos, de certa forma, fanáticos por recovery, fanáticos por saúde mental. Então, se você quiser mostrar um pouquinho da página, né, são algumas pessoas. Conseguimos 14 pessoas com experiência vivida. Esse é um fruto da Abre, é um fruto que a Cissa me confidenciou depois de várias. Conheço a Cissa há 20 anos, né? Ela falou para mim que existia a intenção de transformar um dia a Abre no Recovery College. E a Abre hoje, nós não estamos brincando de recovery, nós estamos fazendo recovery. Porque o segundo momento, e até 2015 eu fiquei em tratamento no centro, voltando um pouquinho o tempo, né? Eu fiquei em tratamento manicomizado, institucionalizado, apesar de não estar internado fisicamente, mas renovava a receita e voltava para minha casa. E tinha a Abre que me dava aquela voz, aquele protagonismo. Em 2015 eu mudo de psiquiatra e conheço o Richard Weingarten, que apresentou um projeto chamado Comunidade de Fala. E esse foi o meu segundo divisor de águas. Na comunidade de fala, que eu tenho aqui pessoas maravilhosas, né? Começou com o Caio Manso, né, como coordenador, mas temos agora Marta Noal, Cristina Oliveira, Cecília Vilares, que levou para Portugal o projeto, e tantos outros que seria impossível nominar agora por aqui. Mas o projeto do Richard, ele me levou a ressignificar a minha história, através de narrativa. Então, através de eu estar falando da nossa história, da minha história de superação, sempre em duplas, a gente percebeu que a gente tinha alguma coisa para oferecer. Havia alguma... Porque até aquele momento eu não tinha perspectiva, eu estava, de certa forma, no recovery, mas era ainda muito, sabe, tiver nos 30. Eu não tinha um salário, não tinha... A ABRE até chegou a me contratar numa época, né, como diretora adjunto, mas eu não tinha uma perspectiva de carreira, de ser uma pessoa. Então parecia que, de fato, a esquizofrenia seria efetivamente uma condição crônica, debilitante para mim. Mas a comunidade de fala mostrou para mim que não, que era possível, sim, seguir. E aí eu tive uma série de insights, e o primeiro insight, que eu acho que foi o recomeço da minha vida, foi voltar à universidade. E voltando à universidade, o professor Arigadelha calorosamente me recebeu como seu orientando, e falou, vamos agora desenvolver um projeto de mestrado para você. E inicialmente me apresentou uma pessoa da Colômbia, Nora Vera. Você vai assessorar a Nora Vera no doutorado dela no King's College. E no fim eu percebi que aquilo não seria adequado. Eu falei, olha, professor, eu acho que não vai rolar. Eu acho que é melhor eu vou... Aí, depois de muito tempo com o Mário Rezende me auxiliando, nós resolvemos usar para o meu mestrado o grupo de acolhimento, que foi fundado em 2005 com a Cissa, com a Solange Tedesco, Micaela Altamirano e... Cissa, Fernanda Pimentel e eu. Essa oficina, na verdade, com a Solange, Cissa, Micaela Altamirano e eu, foi o LACA, que surgiu na mesma época que eu estava voltando para a universidade. Então, de repente, eu vi que a ABRE estava abrindo o leque, né? Então, começou primeiramente com o acolhimento de família e de pessoas com esquizofrenia. Esse grupo de acolhimento com pessoas com esquizofrenia virou tese de mestrado. E depois a LULAC, o Laboratório de Criação do Casa Azul, que se tornou um pré-recovery college, de fato, apesar de ele ser estabelecido e usando as instalações do CAISM. E depois do mestrado, depois eu vou resumindo, porque realmente o tempo, senão eu vou tomar todo o tempo aqui. Depois do mestrado, teve a pandemia, eu tive um surto durante a pandemia, inclusive, administrado. Mas durante a pandemia, o mestrado, consegui conhecer, através do Mário, que já tinha trabalhado com o Mike Slade, conheci a estrutura do Recovery College. E como o mestrado estava indo muito bem, eu já fui planejando os próximos passos acadêmicos, que seria, de fato, a implementação de um possível Recovery College no Brasil. Então, foi através do projeto de doutorado, que foi iniciado em 2021, em dezembro de 2021, né? Que o Recovery College começou a tomar forma acadêmica. E eu, porque tem duas pernas, né? Tem a primeira tese acadêmica no mundo falando de Recovery College e o primeiro Recovery College que a gente ia trazer para o Brasil e para a América Latina. E eu sou absolutamente apaixonado pelo tema, porque mexe com uma coisa que, para mim, e é muito apropriadamente colocada na fala do professor Walter, na cerimônia de abertura, a arte. Arte e criatividade, né? Então, eu acho assim que o Recovery College nosso, da ABRE, e da UFSC, da Federal de São João del Rei, e da comunidade de fala, ele vai encampar todas essas expressões individuais das pessoas que o Mário quiser passar a página, né? São 14 pessoas com experiência vivida, gente, inclusive, que mora fora do país, né? Nós temos oficinas de filosofia, de inglês, de macramê, de palestras do diálogo aberto. Vamos ter uma disciplina do diálogo aberto. A ideia é expandir o movimento do recovery tão longe quanto a gente puder ir, porque não há limite para o sonho. E sonho que se sonha junto é sonho. Mas sonho que se sonha junto é realidade. E falando do fanatismo, acho que todos nós, como eu disse, somos fanáticos por um ser humano. porque eu acho que hoje em dia nós vivemos um mundo onde a tecnologia está nos afastando de uma maneira muito muito perigosa, porque a inteligência artificial está gerando avatares, pessoas que não existem e que se tornam, muitas vezes, você pode estar conversando com uma pessoa que não existe de fato. Então, a preocupação minha que eu tenho, que nós temos hoje no Recovery College, é de fato, não, vamos começar online, não temos outra alternativa, a não ser começar online, né, o ano que vem, já está previsto, em março do ano que vem. Mas, assim, na maneira que a gente realmente pensa em ter o Recovery College, é fazer ele presencial, porque nada substitui o ser humano carne e osso. E quando eu visitei, eu tinha um sanduíche que eu ia fazer no King's College, no Nottingham, depois no King's, e eu perdi por causa do surto do ano passado, mas eu consegui fazer uma visita técnica para Nottingham, né? Conheci o Mike Slade, conheci o Itaçu, participei do Refocus, foi o segundo Refocus que eu participei, o primeiro foi patrocinado pela Abre, e assim você estava comigo, o Jorge também estava. E o Mike Slade, quando eu conversei com ele ficou, os olhinhos deles brilhavam para mim. Eu falei, Zé, você não está entendendo uma coisa, Zé. Eu falei, o que foi, Mike? Você não veio aqui para aprender com a gente. Nós estamos aqui para aprender com vocês. E ele levou aquilo tão a sério que ele veio para o Brasil ano passado e ficou 3 semanas no Brasil, aprendendo sobre Paulo Freire, aprendendo sobre teatro do oprimido, participou do Congresso do Brain. Então a gente está fazendo um movimento. O Arigadelha, que é um psiquiatra, que tem ele colocou numa publicação do Brain desse ano, a introdução é focada no recovery. E convidou o professor Mário Rezende, que é o que escreveu, para escrever um capítulo sobre recovery. Então, eu acho assim, que a psiquiatria, a boa prática psiquiátrica, pode sim conviver com o recovery. É possível, sim. É bem medicado, não somos contra. Não existe uma coisa que nós contraímos, mas assim, a boa prática psiquiátrica, ela se entra no paciente. Então, graças a Deus, eu saí do sistema, não falando mal do SUS, porque o SUS nada substitui o valor do que nós temos, único no mundo praticamente, um serviço que na pandemia se demonstrou, né? Mas para mim, com relação à psiquiatria, eu fiquei 15 anos gravando receita. Quando eu mudei de psiquiatra, e minha mãe falou para mim, muda de psiquiatra e você encontrar uma pessoa que não te cobre. Eu encontrei uma pessoa que me acolheu, né? Uma colheita que me acolheu e nem me cobra consultas até hoje. Uma pessoa da Unifesp, inclusive, o doutor Alejandro Vera, que é argentino também, que era, inclusive, a mesma ascendência do meu psiquiatra de Miami, que tinha dito que eu não teria condições de trabalhar, de estudar. E o professor Alejandro Vera me acolheu, e aí o resto é história, e a gente percebe que é possível, sim, viver. Hoje eu tenho uma bolsa de estudo da FAPESP, e estamos desenvolvendo o Recovery College, como o 4º projeto da ABRE, do primeiro é acolhimento, o segundo é a oportunidade de fala, o terceiro é LACA, Laboratório de Criação da Azul, o 4º é o IMAGOS, junto com o professor Walter, com o professor Mário. Hoje é o dia que a gente celebra com o Richard Engarten, com o pessoal da comunidade de fala, com a Cissa, com todos aqui. Estamos oficialmente inaugurando esse momento e estou extremamente feliz por estar aqui e por ter uma outra colega que vai falar depois de mim, que dispensa, não sei se ela, a Sami, né, que esteve em Madrid agora recentemente, ganhando um prêmio. E, basicamente, o Recovery College procura agregar talentos, porque pessoas que têm transtorno mental têm talento, gente. É vida, é criatividade. A gente pensa fora da caixinha. Então, nesse mundo onde tudo é tão pasteurizado, a gente percebe que é possível, sim. E eu acho que talvez seja um privilégio a gente pensar fora da caixinha. Porque hoje em dia está todo mundo indo numa vertente, né, talvez num precipício da condição de ser humano. Tá bom? Então, basicamente, o Recovery College é isso. Colocar no ser humano, e no protagonismo, no pertencimento, no empoderamento e principalmente na cidadania. E o Brasil carece tanto hoje, mas eu acho que o Brasil vai ter muito para ensinar ao mundo, não só a Inglaterra. Muito obrigado.
Olá, bom dia. Eu costumo ser muito breve, já adianto. Eu fiz só alguns tópicos que eu gostaria de falar de muitas coisas, eu não sei se eu me lembro, porque eu fico muito nervosa, assim, ao vivo. Meu negócio é mais rede social, quem me conhece, eu sou meio assim, fico nervosa ao vivo, mas vamos lá. Primeiro, queria agradecer o convite de estar aqui, o convite do Zé. Estou muito honrada com todas as pessoas que estão aqui, a Cissa, que me recebeu lá em Madrid, como o Zé citou. Então, ele estava comentando da Abre, né, do papel da Abre na vida dele. A minha vida começou a ser transformada também a partir do meu primeiro contato com a Abre, né? A partir da Abre eu conheci pessoas maravilhosas, como o Zé, como o Caio, como o Joel, né? E a partir da Abre eu também conheci o CAPS, que mudou a minha vida lá em Brasília. Eu sou de Brasília, a Abre é de São Paulo, mas a partir da Abre eu conheci o CAPS, que mudou a minha vida lá em Brasília, né? E aí eu escrevi um livro chamado Memórias da Esquizofrenia, também a partir dessas experiências com a Abre e com o CAPS, contando a minha trajetória, né, com o laudo, com o transtorno de esquizofrenia, que tem um papel da espiritualidade muito grande. Eu tinha muito delírio religioso, muitas questões metafísicas, que eu tenho ainda até hoje, mas de uma maneira mais saudável, né, uma espiritualidade mais equilibrada, assim. E aí, a partir disso, também faço bastante militância lá em Brasília, nos espaços políticos que são muito comuns lá, sempre estou fazendo discurso ou tendo participação em manifestações, também com essa pauta da espiritualidade tóxica, digamos assim, por conta da questão das CTs, né, das comunidades terapêuticas, que a gente luta muito contra, porque as comunidades terapêuticas promovem um tratamento, um pseudo-tratamento baseado em espiritualidade, trabalho forçado, tortura, cárcere privado, várias coisas desse tipo, né? Enfim, aí a partir de toda essa trajetória, fui convidado pelo Zé para fazer parte da questão do recovery, e acho muito interessante a proposta e tudo mais. Inclusive, estava sendo falado aqui na palestra, né, da pessoa lá do Japão, se eu não me engano, falando da questão multicultural do recovery, de você olhar a cultura de cada lugar. Isso é muito importante. Aí eu queria trazer nesse sentido, já que eu estou fazendo parte dessa questão do recovery, a questão das políticas públicas aqui no Brasil, né? Porque isso tem que ser considerado. Gente, eu sei que é chato, algumas pessoas acham chato falar de política e tal, mas a política faz parte da nossa vida. E se a gente não falar, outras pessoas falarão em nosso nome, e nem sempre pessoas bem intencionadas, né? Então, essa questão da política pública no Brasil tem que ser olhada. No questionário que o Zé me mandou do recovery, tem lá, né, você deve considerar a questão social da pessoa. Aí eu fiz um comentário lá que sim, você tem que considerar que uma pessoa que está numa escala 6x1, que uma pessoa que está com uma renda que não é digna, uma pessoa que está pegando transporte público mais de 3 horas por dia para ir trabalhar, necessariamente a saúde mental dela vai estar prejudicada, entendeu? Então, a gente, por tabela, tem que considerar essas questões. O Mário estava me falando, o Mário que está ali online, estava me falando que essa questão do prêmio da Espanha que eu recebi, né? Eu ganhei primeiro lugar em uma das categorias, que era de melhor relato de superação em saúde mental. Eu ganhei primeiro lugar lá na Espanha nesse concurso, e o prêmio foi em euros e tudo mais. E aí o Mário estava me falando, antes de eu ir, como é difícil ter essa representatividade aqui no Brasil, né? De pessoas usuárias de saúde mental no exterior. Aí eu comentei com ele justamente essa questão das políticas públicas, porque aqui no Brasil você não tem tempo para militar. Você está pensando em sobreviver, você está querendo ter uma renda digna, várias questões, entendeu? Então, eu, inclusive, estou numa situação não de vulnerabilidade financeira, mas uma situação bem ruim financeiramente, até por questões de empregabilidade e tudo mais, de estigma, que também foi falado aqui. E no Brasil isso é muito forte. Aí, esse destaque que eu tive na Espanha realmente é uma exceção. Eu sou muito grata, muito honrada de estar representando essas pessoas lá nesse sentido, né? E aí, falando um pouco também da questão da arte, que é pautada aqui nesse congresso, nesse encontro catarinense, né? A arte sempre teve um papel muito importante para mim, inclusive nos CAPs. Eu comecei a fazer teatro no CAPs, que eu já fazia desde a infância, e abandonei por conta das questões de saúde mental e do fundamentalismo religioso também. E aí foi retomado no CAPs, então eu fiz teatro do oprimido, que foi citado aqui também. Trabalhei profissionalmente como atriz e como assistente de direção numa peça sobre saúde mental lá em Brasília, né? Foi uma experiência muito boa, remunerada, maravilhoso. E então ter essa conexão entre arte e saúde mental é muito importante e pertinente. Outra questão que eu queria comentar também é a questão da minha aproximação com causa indígena e causa palestina, no que tem a ver com saúde mental. Né? Eu acho importante a gente pontuar, por exemplo, os indígenas, estava sendo falado lá na abertura, tem uma relação muito diferente com a saúde mental, assim, questão territorial e de contato com a natureza, que também foi falado aqui na palestra, né, em inglês, na parte em inglês. E os indígenas têm essa coisa da psicose, da questão de saúde mental, não como um estigma, mas até como uma questão de honra, né? Eles colocam quem tem alguma psicose, algum tipo diferente de pensamento, vira um xamã na aldeia, vira uma pessoa de destaque. Então, isso é muito interessante a gente observar como os indígenas lidam de forma diferente com essas questões mentais, de achar que a pessoa pode ter, sim, algum acesso espiritual, por ela ter um pensamento diferente, uma interação diferente com a realidade. Então, eu tenho me aproximado muito da causa indígena também nesse sentido. E a causa palestina em relação a sofrimento agudo, né? E resiliência, que fala do sumud palestino, que tem a ver com, traduzindo bem precariamente, como se fosse uma resiliência. Então, eu pego muito essa questão palestina e de saúde mental palestina, que é pautada também lá na Universidade de Brasília, que é a Federal de Brasília, dessas questões de saúde mental palestina. Então, assim, eu sei que parece tudo, às vezes, um pouco desconexo, estou tentando botar muita informação aqui em pouco tempo, mas acho que saúde mental é tudo isso, e o recovery, bem ou mal, direto ou indiretamente, engloba esse tipo de coisa. Então, a lição que a gente fica é de dar, sim, o protagonismo às pessoas com transtorno, porque, como foi dito aqui pelo Zé, as pessoas têm muito a aprender com a gente. Lógico, a gente pode aprender com as pessoas, mas que as pessoas possam ter essa humildade de aprender com quem já sofreu coisas terríveis em manicômios, como foi o meu caso, 7 anos de internação e tudo mais, e repassar esse conhecimento e, a partir disso, fazer um mundo melhor. Obrigada.
Walter, José, estou aqui no aguardo de vocês, do que vocês falarem aí, se já é para fazermos as palavras finais, vocês que sabem.
Bom, acho que cumprimos a nossa inauguração, né? Conseguimos aí do meio para o final regularizar ali. Agradeço ali o Felipe, a Fernanda, que lutaram ali bravamente junto com o resto da equipe, né? Para poder regularizar aqui. Agradecer a presença de todas e todos e convidar para visitar, quem estiver em São Paulo, visitar a nossa Escola de Superação e Cidadania, lá na Abre São Paulo. Visitem o site, vocês vão ver onde é que funciona. Aqui vai começar a funcionar o nosso Instituto Florescer, aqui para quem é de Florianópolis, no bairro da Carvoeira. A gente ia ter uma inauguraçãozinha informal hoje, mas a Célia informou que não deu para organizar, então não vai ser hoje, mas vamos falar com vocês quando for. E São João del Rei, lá com o Mário, né? Também a Escola de Superação e Cidadania lá também. Mário, muito obrigado pela tua participação, Zé, Samantha, Sami, e muito obrigado a todas as pessoas que estão aqui por prestigiarem. E espero que a gente vai poder, com essa iniciativa, realmente dar um protagonismo para as pessoas que têm experiência de vida, como a gente se refere, né? As pessoas que têm uma experiência com o transtorno, com o sofrimento, com a vida. Agradecer muito a presença do Richard Weingarten, que é um pioneiro aqui no Brasil da comunidade de fala, a Cecília Vilares, que é uma pessoa que também tem militado, uma pessoa que tem uma história dentro da Abre, e todas as pessoas que estão aqui, né? A Marta Noal, lá de Santa Maria, com um projeto lá da comunidade Fala em Santa Maria, e outros projetos que dão protagonismo às pessoas com experiência de vida. E todas as pessoas aqui, muito obrigado, tá bom? Bom almoço, quem está com fome. Tirar foto. Então, pode tirar 2 fotos. Uma, eu, o Zé, com a tela, e a Samanta, a Sami, né? E a outra com todo mundo. A outra com todo mundo. Mário, ajeita o cabelo aí, Mário. Ajeita o cabelo aí, Mário, que vai tirar foto.
Pode deixar, tô vendo aqui. Obrigado. Todo mundo, né? Todo mundo. Vocês também lá.